trying to get an airstrike over on that opposite side. Copy.
What's up everyone, Tom from the Airsoft headquarters here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to go over some of the camera and recording equipment that I have at my disposal, some of the things I've collected over the years of making videos, of recording myself before I actually got to the headquarters, what I'm currently using, and just giving you guys some basic information so you guys can decide if you want to get into making airsoft videos, how to get into making airsoft videos, and if you're beginning to make those steps into airsoft video production, just how much of a deep end it's going to end up being for yourself. Because it can get pretty time consuming. Ultimately, making videos and video production is definitely not something that is easy. It can be fun. While it is something that takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and takes a lot of experience to get efficient at, it's something that I continue to do because I have fun doing these videos. I like the overall process of making videos, whether it be here in the studio or going out and playing with you guys on the field. I like having, the accessories, the lights, the cameras, the recording equipment. It's always been a fascination of mine in particular, coming from a more artistic background and doing all the years of class study on camera and photography and studying old film and current film and watching the special effects. I don't do a lot of special effects, but I like seeing that realm, and I like seeing other people make videos themselves and kind of seeing where they draw inspiration, what they find to be most fun for themselves and what they like to put out to other people. I like seeing that side of things. So how did I kind of get into making airsoft videos? Well, like a lot of other people, I also grew up watching Jet the Desert Fox, Matt the Musketeer, Airsoftology, Robo Murray, even like the really old, the OG Airsoft GI guys when they would go out to events as well. Watching the EVIC guys go and play in events, watching the Not So Round Table, the OG Amped Airsoft guys, gun gamers are house gamers. So I was right, gun gamers. And seeing all those guys start out. And I was inspired to go and make videos of myself while going out and playing because I thought this was a lot of fun. I like seeing what those guys are doing. So I want to be able to share my experience and share what I'm able to do, even from a super beginner basic level. So my very first camera, and really my first 3 cameras, were the SJ Cam, the SJ4000. And these were at the time the knockoff GoPro action cameras. Because I couldn't afford a proper GoPro action camera. And really at the time when I think the GoPro Hero 2, Hero 3 were coming out, this guy was the competitive competition grade of action camera. So I had multiple of these that I was collecting just pretty grainy low quality footage from and just saving them for myself. I didn't have a good editing computer. I just was able to go back into the clips and be like, oh, check out this one part. But I still have footage from when I was running this guy. And when I was still running this guy, I also picked up the GoPro Hero Session. And this was when the 4 or the 5 came out. So I picked this little cube guy up intending to have a reverse action camera on my airsoft guns. But a lot of times just it had better quality compared to the SJ Cam. So a lot of times I actually ran it as a helmet mount, and I would just save those as well because I just didn't have any editing software or anything at my disposal to cut and edit to make proper videos. So on and so forth, I ended up getting a run camera. So here on the MP5 that I was running this weekend, I have a different run camera, but this is not the OG one. This one, this orange colored one, is, if I remember correctly, a 28 millimeter or 24 millimeter. So this is a super wide lens. It actually has a wider field of view than the GoPro here. So I got this guy about the time when I got into the first free editing software. And I was able to have multiple layers into my timeline, and I could just cut back and forth between the zoom camera and the action camera, and then I could actually start exporting and making videos. And that was also about the time when I actually got into the studio here, and I was actually starting to make videos, and the first time I actually was able to take over the Airsoft Headquarters YouTube channel, which most of those starter videos were utilizing this Canon EOS 30Ds. Now, this is a camera from 2005, so this is worse image quality compared to the zoom camera or even this little GoPro here. And at the same time, I also spent a little bit more and got this GoPro Hero 5, which I had purchased pre-owned, pre-used, so it did save me a couple of bucks. And GoPro overall is really, really good about their cameras. They usually have really good customer service, really good warranty, and overall just hold up really, really well. So I've kind of stuck with GoPros, and I like the GoPro stuff in general for action cameras, as you will probably see in the next couple of cameras that I pick up. So started doing work here in the studio, just relaying information to you guys, and that was all kind of cool and dandy, but I wasn't really a Canon guy, and I wasn't a guy that liked having a 15-year-old camera. So I picked up what you guys are currently watching me on, which is the Sony a6100, and pretty shortly picked up the Sony a7 II here. And these are the ones that I'm currently using for my studio cameras. I use them for product photography. I use them for advertisement photography. I'll use them for pretty much even personal projects, whether it be wedding photography, doing my own side projects, or even helping friends out with whatever pictures, even taking my sister's senior pictures on these cameras. Overall, they're just nicer cameras that I use very, very often. And with the upgrade of the nicer studio cameras, I also upgraded into a proper audio recording system. So I'm using the Rode Wireless Go 2s. So these are actually 2 transmitters. So I have the one on my person, and then this would go, you guys will probably frequently or have seen me doing videos with Carl. That was actually when we were using these 2 transmitters, so he could talk and I could talk simultaneously and not have to pass the transmitter back and forth to each other. While I did have one of those for a short time, I very quickly upgraded to the 2 transmitters, 1 receiver type of deal. Overall, it's worked really well. At some point, I also picked up a 40mm zoom camera. So this is a proper zoom lens. And these will actually go onto any type of guns that I'm running outdoors for larger milsim events. Just so I don't have to crop the image on the wide fish lens and like have a weird distorted zoom that you can't actually see the bee because it's so distorted. And then kind of here and there, I've collected different mounting brackets, collected different tripods, I've collected different lighting systems, just kind of grown my collection of accessories. So you guys have probably seen, I want to say 2 years ago, when I picked up the Psionics Aurora night vision camera here. This is probably one of the more flexible, or probably the more unique recording devices that I have picked up, because I purchased it for one reason and one reason only, and it really only has the one use, which is recording in super low light environments. I haven't really been able to go out and do a whole lot of recording, primarily because I am not a night owl. I don't usually spend a whole lot of nights up late or up in early morning. So you don't really see a whole lot of footage, but we do utilize it here and there. And it's nice to be able to have such a diverse collection in order to sprinkle all of the smaller accessories into one big video. One of those actually being, this GoPro Max, which I picked up, I think 2 years ago. But this is, again, one of those more unique ones where it's a 360-degree camera from GoPro. So you can see all around you, or you can use just one of the lenses. And this has really been my go-to very recently as far as using it for a head-mounted camera in order to record indoor gameplay, primarily indoor gameplay, because that way I'm not running with my regular guys that are also running cameras, so I can't pull other angles with those guys that I'm not running. So the 360 footage allows me to angle the camera essentially, or the view, where I want it exactly. And it's been very instrumental in the last several indoor games as far as being able to warp the camera behind me and see when I can get friendly fired, or see where shots may be coming from, or even if someone was shooting at me and missed, I can, I'm able to warp that in the editing process and can now have a new point of view, a new angle to show you guys. Part of that editing process is, spending the money on a good laptop. Now, I've been extremely lucky since I have a roommate that is extremely generous with his, being a technician, a digital technician at least. And so I'm able to get dibs on some, middle to higher tier laptops and computers, and can, more freely get access to better processors. So the weird thing is that the 360 footage, I can't really export and splice as a 360 footage. I can do it kind of here and there, and I have like proper 360 videos that you guys can go on and you can scroll around and see different angles. But it's much harder to do that, than, just doing what I normally do. And then talking about the mounting, I talked about how would use, a little more cheaper helmets. I would use reverse camera brackets, different tripods and mounting systems. And this helmet in particular is dedicated to that 360 camera, or even just mounting, one of these regular GoPros on the very front here with, say, this bracket. So this is a nice metal one that I can just clip into the night vision mount, and will allow me to mount a GoPro, and that's how you guys can see it. This is my regular go-to airsofting helmet, so I do have some electrical tape that I can use as a shim as far as mounting that bracket into place and making it to where it's not nearly as wobbly. And these are all just little tricks that you guys will learn as you continue to utilize the equipment and learn pretty quickly what's happening for what reason. So one of the first video clips of me using this onto my helmet, the bracket here was actually loose in the mount. So I didn't realize it at the time. So as I'm running, it's moving back and forth and clicking, click, 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 click. And that clicking audio was so terrible, I pretty much had to scrap all the footage of that entire day of playing Airsoft, just because the click was so loud and obnoxious, and there was no way to edit it out. But it's just one of the things that you have to learn, and it's one of the struggles and the pains of just using video equipment. It gets very expensive. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I have just in editing equipment or recording equipment here on the table with me. It gets very, very expensive. But I do it because I like it. I want to be able to relay good content, goodish content. I'm not the best, but I like being able to do it with you guys. And I'm hoping that I can continue to grow and get you guys more content. I'm hoping I can grow the Airsoft content area here in kind of central Wisconsin, and start to bubble it outwards. So that is kind of a plan of mine as far as just total action camera recording devices. Now, I do every once in a while have a more studio-based recording system. You may notice that there's a lot of consistencies with certain brands. Rode being a very prevalent and common recording system that I utilize. And I mount it onto tripods for voiceovers, or I'll mount it onto this arm here for a more podcasty type of look or feel, and get different camera angles with the nicer cameras. And again, those are all just things that I kind of sprinkle in, different accenting lights, so on and so forth, to kind of give you guys an overall better image. One of the most recent things that I've committed to is these guys. So I haven't shown this in other videos, primarily because I don't use it while airsofting, but it's one of the things that I use to get more footage in order to sprinkle some more of that nicer type of content in with all my videos. So this is a DJI drone. So this is something that I can send up over fields, and I can get top-down coverage of whatever is being utilized, whether I want to record someone pushing into a building, or I just want to record the layout of the field, or I want to, accent a certain piece of cover, stuff like that, or even just doing a cinematic shot down in an arena or outdoors for doing one of our cooler type of intros for video work. It's just one of the fun things that we can play around with. And I think I've utilized this more for kind of side projects of mine than actual airsoft related content. But again, it's just one of those more niche tools that as it continues to get utilized will continue to, get used in like little sprinklings, with all of my content. So that is overall the majority of my recording devices. Now, what are some of my struggles? Some of my struggles are trying to get the time and the space in order to actually get what I want recorded. So for example, if I wanted to sit down and record a overview of the new MP5 SD6 Elite, that's a large chunk of time, not only for prep in order to set the studio space up how I would like it, but also to actually dedicate time into seeing how it performs, how it reacts, how I like to move with it. I do spend most of my days either just having the rifle on me, around me, bring it up in order to aim down sights, like how I left my reticle on. Just utilizing the equipment before I can actually present it to you guys so I can relay relevant information that, or at least what I think is relevant information, that maybe other channels aren't presenting to you guys. That's one of the things that has driven me to make what I make how I make it. Because as a beginner airsofter, I've also been suckered into the more bigger box airsoft companies that are just primarily just reading off of a script and making it sound really good on paper and giving really cinematic shots. And those videos have suckered me in more than once, and it got to the point where it's like, if I'm getting suckered, then who knows how many other people are getting suckered as well. So I wanted to give you guys that pertinent information from one airsofter to another, while also trying to remain on good terms with a lot of the better airsoft retailers that I will bring products from. So not only am I trying to give you guys good content, give you good information, also bring in good brands, and also as a retailer as well, bring in products that are not going to fail you nearly as much, while also trying to be good friends in order to review the product effectively and not get in trouble with some of those distributors, those different companies. And it's a very hard line for me to try to balance on, as far as making sure I'm transparent with you guys, but also not completely shitting on certain products. It's a very hard thing to try to do pretty well. And this is not a sponsored channel. Well, there are players and there are channels out there that are sponsored, and good for them that they can actually do that. We're not sponsored here. So everything as far as getting the recording equipment has come out of my pocket. Spending the time in order to get information on the product, it's on my time. In order to record and deliver and edit these videos for you guys to not only get information, but also try to enjoy. Also my time and my cameraman's time as well. So it's very, very, very hard. And YouTube overall is becoming much more woke of a social media platform and they don't really like to promote or show kind of that two-way, that gun-toting type of video. For example, and I've brought this example up multiple times before, but I'm still going to continue to bring it up until I get some type of good answer from YouTube. But remember like 2 years ago when I made the review on a backpack, the LBX backpack specifically? In fact, the one that I use to hold all my camera equipment in? Well, I made the video and YouTube then flagged it and said that, hey, this video can't be played and we're gonna age restrict it because it shows how to modify firearms. And I'm like, but it's a video about a backpack. And they're like, oh, well, this goes against our community guidelines and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but it's a backpack. I don't know how this could be any further in line with your guidelines because I'm reviewing a backpack. There's no firearms in the video because it's about a backpack. And it took a lot of back and forth with whoever from YouTube, whether it be a bot or some type of person, I couldn't tell. It took a lot of work on my end in order to get that video okayed, but it still wasn't monetizable. Speaking of monetizable, we have yet to receive a single piece of anything of cash or paycheck or anything from YouTube for running ads, the limited amount of ads that we can run on the channel that we've been able to have for the last 14 or 15 months. In fact, our highest grossing or highest viewed video, which I believe is 20,000, 30,000 total views, it's the Kythera install video. That has the highest amount of views, is fully monetizable, and last I checked, in the 13 months that it has been monetized, it has gathered a total of $20, so, which is pretty much nothing. I don't think it barely even scratches the amount of time that I spent on making that video. To give you an example, this video I think is probably gonna be around 15 minutes long with how much I've rambled on and on and on about cameras that you guys probably aren't running. But that 15 minutes ends up being 4, 5, 6 hours worth of editing time. And especially if we implement different camera angles from different perspectives. Like if we cut down to arena, that's significantly more time. If we cut even to the shooting range, that adds even more time. If we have a secondary camera, like an over the shoulder, that cuts into even more time. So the time starts to, build up very steadily as far as how long it takes to edit everything back together. So we're not really seeing any type of monetized comeback from YouTube to really make it worth continuing to produce these videos, at least on paper. I just like to do this a lot. This type of video work is dedicated just to you guys and to the Airsoft audience in general. So if anyone thinks that we're somehow not helping the Airsoft community out, this is a lot of free time that is pretty much volunteered in order to deliver content for you guys specifically. So that's what I have to say about that. And as far as like Instagram, Facebook, they're not getting any better either. It's still super hard. Last night, Instagram actually took down a post that I had on Instagram, on our Instagram Airsoft headquarters. They had like, ooh, this facilitates the sales of firearms and explosives. Even though it was a post about our hours during COVID and how you can pick up local if you order online. So that got pulled down specifically for, the sales, promotion of sales of firearms and explosives. It doesn't make sense. Instagram is whack. Facebook is whack. YouTube getting whack. And then TikTok, I see a lot of people ask about TikTok. I don't want to do anything with TikTok. I'm 25 years old and I still think I'm way too old for TikTok. I couldn't even begin to think of getting into the TikTok realm. Some people do really good on TikTok and I'm really happy for them. But for the YouTube Shorts, which is pretty much the same format as TikTok, we have a lot of numbers that do really, really well. In fact, when the YouTube Shorts were first introduced, a lot of videos did stupid well. Like 160, 180,000 views per video. The YouTube algorithm just sucked it up, did really well. And then the last several YouTube Shorts that I've produced have 200 views, 400 views. It just died out, and it's just, oh my God, these views are super high, and then they die out just almost as quickly as they get viewed. So that's also not something that, and they're not monetizable videos. So it's not something that really is worth dedicating and producing YouTube Short specific content for, if that makes sense. There are guys that 100% do really well with those YouTube Shorts and those TikTok videos. This channel just doesn't do them very well. And not to say we couldn't get someone to do something like that really well. It's just not something that we can afford to pay them to do because we can't make money. I keep hitting the shit. So, bottom line, do I suggest you guys going out and making videos of your Airsoft experience? 100%. Go out and do that. But I'm making these videos to let you guys know, this video in particular, what maybe you should expect, kind of what the reality is, and allowing you guys to decide for yourselves, is this something you want to, continue to go down this rabbit hole of? Because like I said, I've got thousands of dollars of just recording equipment right here on this table. I'm not even counting the stuff that's around the table or not even in camera view. It takes up a lot of personal time and a lot of personal cash. But I do it because I'm super dedicated to you guys, to the community, and I just like to do it in general. So that's what I have. If you guys have any further questions about how this process works, anything as far as the type of videos or the equipment that I use, put them down in the comment section below. It helps just get the YouTube algorithm to push this video into the general audience and helps us help you. So with that, I'll be out of here. You guys take care, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. So I was right, gun gamers. And seeing all those guys start out. And I was inspired to go and make videos of myself while going out and playing because I thought this was a lot of fun. I like seeing what those guys are doing. So I want to be able to share my experience and share what I'm able to do, even from a super beginner basic level.